real slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Good evening, everyone, live on my YouTube channel. This is Rich Mancuso for Thursday, May 15, 2025. It's Keep It in the Ring. Like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're also here at String Punk Entertainment and also with the AGT Network. And, of course, Sports Talk with Tommy D, my esteemed colleague, very esteemed colleague, good friend, Tommy D. He'll be joining me in a moment as we do this week's edition of Keep It in the Ring, which will be an hour or more. And also like that Facebook page, Keep It in the Ring, as many of you keep doing. And get my social media handles, of course, X, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Also on Instagram, my content is always being read on Latinosports.com, among some of the outlets that I write for. And we have a long, an extensive good live program for you this week. First of all, apologies for last week. We weren't on. Had a glitch. That happens when you're trying to do a live program and so forth during the week. We got that all straightened out. We're here this week. We're going to catch up with you. And first of all, I want to thank you all and many of you who are supporters of this program and me on Facebook for those great birthday wishes. Let me tell you, I got many of them that I'm still trying to answer to thank you personally. It was a great birthday, just having your wishes. You're my extended family. Thank you very much. Rich Mancuso, still alive and kicking with the boxing, wrestling, MMA world, and so forth. Combat sports, it is every week. Here at Keep It in the Ring, 68 years of age. Do I look it? I feel it, that's for sure. Enough of that garbage with me. Thank you again for the great birthday wishes. This week on the program, we're going to examine, was it a punch or a class? The controversy with Emmanuel Navarette over the weekend. We'll look at that. Is Teofimo Lopez ready for Boots Ennis? That fight might be in the works at 147. Manny Pacquiao sets his return bout out of retirement. Sebastian Ventura, big fights ahead for him, also scheduled. He's not going to get Xander Zayas. More boxing, MMA news, the Pro Wrestling Report, plenty of that with WWE and AEW getting ready for Double or Nothing. And later on in the hour, we will look at the life of the great Sabu, who passed away unexpectedly this past week at 60 years of age. Jason Knight, ECW Championship Wrestling, and who worked with the great Sabu in ECW for a long time in years down there at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Will join us live on the program along with Rebel Rant Robbie Rebel, who also knew the great Sabu. We'll go into that. So, nostalgia will also come out much more. Fact of the week, this is Keep It in the Ring. All right. So, quiet fight weekend coming up, but in 2 weeks, it's going to pick up again as we go into June, and a lot of action in New York City. We'll get to that, including Charlo and Plant, who have separate bouts. You know, that's going to be an interesting card of boxing coming up. Examine that more next week on the program. June and July going to be quite busy. We'll get a little dull period this weekend going into early and the second week of June. But we turn our attention to that 6th round Saturday night, Emmanuel Navarette and Charlie Suarez. Was this an accidental clash of heads or a punch? And Navarette had a left eyebrow cut in the 6th round. Top-ranked ESPN. The cameras, the replays showed this, and I got to commend them. They did a great job. That cut in the 6th round, the fight ended the end of 8th on that technicality. Thomas, we have some video of it, and then we'll go over it along with the punch stats and everything up leading to the stoppage. Let's take a look at this. Let's talk it over as I bring Tommy D in and discuss this. Tom, why don't you roll it? Was it an accidental headbutt? Or was it a punch in that 6th round that caused this controversial ending to a fight that was pretty darn good to that moment? Tom, can you roll it? Do you have it?
Yep. I'm going to play it right now, Rich.
Let's go. Yeah. Tom, clearly to me that was wasn't a clash of heads, was it?
No,
or do you see it differently?
Perfect counter punch.
Right. As a result, and that caused a lot of controversy, and ESPN did a great job going to the replay. with the officials there ringside having the ability to do that, which is great for the sport in a fight that ended controversial like this. Navarette was awarded through this the WBO junior lightweight title, the win up to the stoppage. It was 78-75, 77-76 twice on the scorecards. The replay later revealed that Suarez's left-handed punch caused the cut. And clearly, we have determined that, Tom. The punch stats to that point showed this. Put those up. Suarez, 30 punches more thrown to Navarette, and Navarette outlanding Suarez 4 of the last 5 rounds. Suarez gets the loss, but the California State Athletic Commission that had jurisdiction of this fight and the card itself looked at this and said it's a no contest. Tom, what is your opinion about that? If you want to roll the video again, we will. Clearly, it was a punch. We've determined that. Many people did, and so did the replay. Navarette, obviously, the blood swelling down his face from his eye on that 6th round clash, or was it a legitimate punch?
I thought it was a legitimate punch. Let's look at it one more time at a different view with the ESPN. Let's see what Tim Bradley's talking through it right now.
Put yourself in the eyes of the replay official. Was this the punch that caused the cut, or was it this head clash, or this rubbing of the glove?
Not Tim Bradley, but ESPN. I thought it was
Bernard Osuna.
Yeah,
Bernard Osuna. Yeah.
But
Bradley took it from the perspective of he being the Hall of Fame fighter, took it from the perspective and described it real well, Tom, and he thought it was the punch, clearly the punch. Up to that point, before the replay, though, there were questions. Yeah. Was it a clash of heads? And that does happen when fighters like these two, Suarez and Navarette, fight up close. They will clash. They will clash heads. But the replay, which is so vital here, obviously showed that this was a punch and not the clash of heads that caused it. Yeah. The ringside officials and the replay, they had to go over it numerous times before it was determined that this fight would go to the scorecards. The California State Athletic Commission now here's the question, rules this a no contest, leading to the point that probably these two will have a rematch that should be warranted based on the outcome. But Tom, replay here in boxing was so vital, so important, and it's not available at every arena because not every streaming network has that ability, but ESPN has had this done in the past, and again, credit to them. Great job. They cleared the issue.
Everybody did, I think, a fair job. ESPN, it took them a while for them to see the punch. They kept arguing headbutt, but eventually they got the right clip, and they saw that it was a clear punch. Good job by everybody except the replay, except for, whoever's in charge of the replay making the decision whether it was a punch or a headbutt. What's the point of having an instant replay if you're not going to get the call right?
That's right. And
it's
they showed it. What I loved about it, they showed it from numerous angles, different perspectives, different angles, where we, the viewer at home, were able to determine better if that was a clash of the heads or a punch. And in the end, it's a punch. And thank you for commenting. And we want you all to do that. Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights, thank you very much for that comment. Happy Thursday to you as well. We have that ability at home to see the replay as they showed off their replay ability at the arena right there at ringside. So that helped. Otherwise, they'd still be talking about and they still are, Tom. This was a controversial ending. But it does warrant a rematch between these two. And Navarette, that's his style. He likes to fight up close, and many times he's gotten away with a clash of the heads, causing the head clash and the butt and the blood spurling from either fighter. Navarette's known for that. That's the type of fighter he is. That's his style.
No, that's it. And he throws punches from all angles. He was winning the fight. Suarez came on a little bit. He buzzed Navarette. After the cut, so he couldn't, see, if the blood was bothering Navarette. Suarez did have some moments in the end, towards the end of the fight, but at the end of the day, they didn't get the call right. For a guy like Suarez, who's not like a known fighter with a top promotion. It's unfair, so it's good that they're going to have the rematch, but it's a little unfair that he's not being able to come in, crowned as champion.
Tom, does it warrant a rematch? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. They should have a rematch. It's only fair.
Top Rank really hasn't commented about that, but I'm sure they're working on that. And maybe they'll get that done before their contract with ESPN concludes by the end of August. And we'll find it somewhere. Thank you. Was that Jamboree, a loyal viewer. And we want you all to like, comment, and most of all subscribe to my channel, Rich Mancuso, here on YouTube. Keep it in the ring, Stream Punk Entertainment, as well as TD Sports Talk with my buddy Tom here, who eats, drinks, and sleeps boxing 24/7 as much as I do. So that chapter's over now for the moment with Emmanuel Navarette. The chapter doesn't end though with replay in boxing, which showed again that it definitely works. And it's needed, I believe. Streaming networks have that ability to do it. ESPN was there and had that ability. All of them have to do it. And go to replay. Every sport does it in the major sports leagues all over the place. Do it in boxing. That's been a contentious debate over the last few years. But this fight, Navarrete and Suarez, shows replay is definitely needed in the sport. In this age of technology, why not, Tom, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the point of replay, I mean, as some sports I do debate that the fact that it does take long. But at the end of the day, if you're going to use it, you got to get the call right. And here we are. This is the second fight in 3-4 months, a big, not a major fight, but still a championship fight where the replay either didn't work with Tank Davis fight, right? Or the replay didn't get the call right, on the day of, of the fight, and it's an injustice. And I really feel bad for the Filipino Suarez because, what I'm saying? Like, to go in as champion, he might get a bigger purse. His name gets out there a little bit more, so he still comes in as a challenger in a rematch. So,
Yeah, he was disappointed, but didn't really object to it. He knew what the ramifications were of this. He knew it. So did Navarrete. But it's happened in the sport. It's happened in boxing over the last few years, and it's happened more than once. So it's not a rare occurrence. So, look, we're both in agreement. Replay is needed and that it worked efficiently Saturday night there in California, and a no contest according to the California State Athletic Commission. All right, we move on, Tom. Also on that ESPN Top Rank card, Raymond Muratella may be headed towards Vasily Lomachenko, maybe, or if Lomachenko decides to retire and relinquish his IBF lightweight title, that remains to be determined. Muratella is the IBF interim lightweight title holder now. Unanimous decision, good one, 119-109 twice, 118-110 over Abdulavov from Russia. Muratella here, the story told in the punch stats, courtesy of CompuBox, 46 more power punches thrown. And over in the UK, on the zone over the weekend, Anthony Cesare stopped Lehigh Wood, ninth round in Nottingham, England. The IBO junior lightweight title defense, Wood's trainer threw in the towel, 2:15 of the ninth round. Wood moved up to featherweight in this one after a hiatus of being out of the ring for 19 months. Cesare won this fight with the jab, 50 of them to Woods' 29. I don't know if you saw that fight, Tom. I did, and I thought that was an interesting fight. Yeah.
It was exciting towards the end. Lee Wood puts on exciting fights. I think he doesn't miss a lot of fighters' hands with his face much in fights, but he's exciting. He comes to fight, but he may think about wanting to retire. Kakasi's pretty good. I do question him, going further with his age. I think he's 36 years old. But he's pretty solid. I picked Kakasi to win this fight, but I didn't think he'd win by stoppage. He's not really a big puncher, But
does Wood have a future ahead for another title in the featherweight division, which is very competitive?
Wood, no. Wood, I think Wood should consider retiring. Kakasi, yes. Kakasi is a shot, but he needs to do it now. He needs to get a shot now because he's not getting any younger. 36 years old, I believe. So that's
right. Age does play a factor in the sport, as we know. And the IBF, did you see this one? Because not many did, but the IBF junior middleweight eliminator, the former title challenger, Erickson Lubin. 11th round TKO over the once undefeated Adriel Holmes Jr., dropping Holmes in round 11. It seems Lubin still wants a shot at a title, by the way, at 154, and that's where he is. That's going to be tough, though, at 154 for him. We all know where that division is headed. A lot of competition at 154 right now, but he says that's what he wants. Of course, Sebastian Ventura, Tszyu, Charlo now back in the mix. Erickson Lubin, though, he never fails to disappoint, does he, Tom?
No, Erickson Lubin's a solid fighter. He's he's kind of like in his prime. He's been stopped before, he's been dropped, but he's a solid fighter. He's good now. He's with new trainers. He's with Berlanga's trainers, right? Mark Ferret, and he's working on different things. I think he was with Cunningham before this. So, Lubin, the time is now for him. Make a move. Maybe he's the mandatory now, I believe, to what is it? The IBF.
Yeah.
Not too
The
sure.
IBF, the eliminator, right?
Yeah, so let's see what happens. Xander,
one of those fighters, Lubin, that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Always feels he still has something in him. And after what he did on Saturday, perhaps he does. So, Tom, now, we didn't talk about it last week. We had the technical glitch, as we know, and I wanted to, but we're going to get into some of it now. The aftermath of Fatal Fury in Times Square. A dud, as I wrote on Latino Sports, as you and I discussed so many times. I mean, there were so many complications. In fact, they lost a lot of money doing that venture, with no fans able to see it on the screens as they promised. A lot of money spent just to close off Times Square.
Yeah.
They admitted they lost a lot of money, but the Turk guy,
doesn't care.
Look, he's got the money to lose. What do you got?
He has never-ending money.
Never ending. He's taken over the sport. We know that. But the Turk guy and Dana White planned their first major fight cards, they say, this year or early next with their new boxing league, Ring Magazine, with their title belts and such in different divisions. And TKO says they're going to have an average, that's the company, of 12 events over the next 5 years, and 1 to 4 super fights. That's reportedly what they're going to do. And as been said, Tom, Fatal Fury was all about the money. The fights were duds, okay? The fights were duds on this big boxing weekend of 2 weeks ago. The money is what they came to do, and that's been the consensus with fans and with people in the boxing industry. These guys don't come to fight. They want the money because the Turk guy's got it to give it to them. And let's take a look. The purses, reportedly, that came out. Here we go. Teofimo made $900,000, and he wasn't the main event. All right? Devin Haney, $5 million. Horrible fight with Ramirez. All right. Rolly Romero, though, look at this. $5.5 million to beat Ryan Garcia, who got $20 million. And Canelo Alvarez the next night in Saudi Arabia, part of Fatal Fury. All right. In Saudi Arabia, his first fight, a Cinco de Mayo weekend outside the United States. Canelo Alvarez in Riyadh versus William Skull, where he regained the IBF title, super middleweight title. Canelo, $80 million, Tom. That's astounding. That is astounding. But that goes to show that the Turk guy has the money, whether he's going to lose it or not, to pay these guys. And Canelo's fight was a dud with Skull, as we know.
Yeah. Turkey doesn't care about the money he loses. He has money that he does, he wants to put in, and he wants to pay them, put on supposedly what he says big fights or different or new type of fights. Times Square for him was just, to say, look, I did something in Times Square, it looks cool or whatever the case may be. They signed Canelo to $400 million. That was the first fight of a 4-fight deal, I believe. So $80 million for that, and Canelo, he stunk it up. I mean, he could have done way more. I don't think Canelo even tried in that fight. They should have.
It's astonishing. It's astonishing the money that's going around this sport right now. They deserve it, but they don't deserve as much as they're getting. It just, especially what they do in the ring, the performances overall, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, they're fighting, for the money, and they're just there. They'll get the win any way they can. I mean, I would have liked a lot of these fighters to do a little bit more. You know, I'm not sure how accurate those numbers are as far as the money, but to give Ryan Garcia all that money, if that's the case, after all the stuff he's did and said in the past year, you reward this guy and give him that type of money and in this type of event and make him like your main event star. That's why I
Yeah.
was happy to see him lose. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to see him again or at least for a while. I really don't. I
Interesting.
mean, it's a joke.
It is a joke. It's
Canelo,
not making look. The sport is thriving in some points, but this doesn't make the sport look good at all. It
No.
doesn't, and that's why you get people that get turned off. And I talked to a lot of people that want to tune into boxing, but they can't get into it because they see these guys making all this money, and then they see that dud in Times Square 2 weeks ago, two weekends ago, and they say, "Why do I got to watch this? Why do I pay for it?" I mean, and they got a point. They got a point. They really do. But
he paid for the IBF belt for Canelo.
Yeah,
he said,
he did.
They basically bought the belt so Canelo
Yeah.
could be undisputed again, and then defend the undisputed title against Crawford to make it.
Well, Canelo always looking at his legacy to continue, and we're going to talk about his impending fight with Bud Crawford in September in a moment. But he's all about the money anyway. He goes where the money is. His track record speaks for itself. Speaking about Teofimo Lopez, who defended that WBO 147-pound title in Times Square against Arnold Barbosa Jr. Now he's making a challenge. Now he's made it known. It's time for Gerard Boots Ennis, the champion at 147 as well. And he's looking to do that on the September 12th date. Now, was it the 13th? They moved the date. That's what they're saying for Canelo Crawford, which is not determined yet where that fight's going to be. He wants the WBO. He is after the WBO junior welterweight title defense against Barbosa, which we all thought was a dud. He's looking now at Gerard Boots Ennis. I don't know. He's also calling out Tank Davis. He could have Devin Haney next. He could have Romero next, who got rid of Ryan Garcia in his comeback. What do you make of maybe Boots Ennis and that guy Teofimo Lopez at 147? Does Boots want that fight? Much as Teofimo wants it?
I don't think Boots would want that fight. I don't know what it does for Boots' career. In my personal opinion, I don't want to see Teo in any big fights as well. He made another racist comment previously. The WBO is investigating to see, what he said, what they're going to do with him.
Yeah, Teofimo's been making some racial remarks that have really made his image, has portrayed his image worse than what it is now. Really bad.
Worse and worse for him. And he's doing it to himself, and he's showing his hand, and he's showing who he really is, and it's not good. It's not a good look. The sport doesn't need guys like him, guys like Ryan Garcia making crazy comments about people's religions and race as well. And this is where the Turk is messing up. The Turk the
other thing is to portray the sport better, to lure in those fans again. Using the vulgarity, the cursing all the time, that doesn't help, especially if you want to appeal to a younger audience. And I'm not talking about younger audience, 20s and up demographic-wise. I'm talking about younger people that want to get into the sport. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to portray and make fighters look better. That doesn't sell. Doesn't with me. I'm an old timer. I hate that as it is, but that doesn't sell. And Teofimo doesn't do much to portray his image better by the way he speaks and things he says, and vulgar language, which was heard again today, which we're going to go over in a minute.
It was crazy.
But the highlight over the weekend, 2 weeks ago, that saved that whole dead of a weekend of boxing was Inoue from Japan in the United States after his fifth appearance, top ranked, the featherweight, top pound for pound fighter to many. What a fight he put on 2 weeks ago. It's a young man that's exciting. It's got to be more here in the United States now. He's marketable. He's appealing. Most of all, he's a great puncher, knockout power, and everything else, speed. That's what fans want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's acquired taste in most cases with boxing, right? You like boxing, you like fighting, you like, you want to see the sweet science, you want to see knockouts. It's an acquired taste for some. I like Inoue. but he definitely saved the show. I mean, and credit to his opponent. His opponent came in there as a big underdog, and he almost pulled it off. In a way, he poised himself, came back up, stopped the guy, and I like Inoue. I think he's definitely top 3 pound for pound.
Yeah, definitely top 3. You got to put him in there top pound for pound top 3. And then you of course, you have Alexander Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight champ, who might be number 1. Most boxing people think so. By the way, we're talking about Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. They've moved that fight reportedly now to Saturday, September 13th. Logistics, who knows why, but they've done that. But they don't know where they're going to have this fight yet. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to be the anticipated mega fight of the year, and one in a very long time, a mega fight. It's either going to be in New York City. This is what I've heard. I don't know if you heard the same. Either in New York City, where in New York, I don't know, but Dana White and the Turk guy would be involved in this with their new fight league, and the Ring is what they have. And Dana White has said that he wants this in an indoor arena. He doesn't want this outdoors with 50, 60,000 people. They thought Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, doesn't look like the plan. New York City could be Madison Square Garden if it's available, Barclays Center if it's available, maybe Los Angeles. They got many venues out there. Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, where it was supposed to be, we do know this. They've moved the date, Saturday, September 13th. And where it is, though, we still don't know. And we're talking, Tom, about a June and July in boxing in the calendar that's going to be really hectic and busy. Major fighters on cards, promotions, mostly they've seen on the Zone and pay-per-view. We're talking June 14th now, next month. Not too far off. The Theater at Madison Square Garden, and I have a big interest in this one. Yeah. George Gambosis Jr., the former champ, against Richardson Hitchens, the IBF Junior welterweight champ. Tom, that's an intriguing, good fight. Gambosis needs to win this to stay in the mix. And Hitchens, well, he feels he's champion now, and he's going to retain it and go on, and even more, he's young enough to do that. I'm looking forward to June 14th, Theater, Madison Square Garden. That'll be on the Zone too.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. It's an intriguing fight. I'm a little upset that Top Rank didn't do their usual card for the
Yeah. Well, you know what I heard, that the people, I'm not naming them, at Top Rank told me that because the contract with ESPN is coming to an end, and they weren't able to fit it in, and it's not because the Garden wasn't available, the theater it is, but they decided to move on from that, and perhaps they'll return it next year. I thought for years that was a great event.
Yeah,
Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto later on, but then we had Xander Zayas, who was going to be there, but he's got other plans. We'll talk about that, but a big one here, Tom. We're going to go to this.
This is going to be a good fight. I think Kambosos might give him some problems early. I think Kambosos has to show, and Kambosos being a little bit dirty. I don't know how Hitchens can play to that. Will that bother him? Will he be able to compose himself? There's a lot of things. In this fight, we're going to see Hitchens. We're going to see how good Hitchens is. I believe Hitchens wins the fight.
He's not happy about the trash talk for coming from Gambosis. So he is anticipating this clash at the Theater in Madison Square Garden on June 14th. He's made it known. Enough of the trash talk. Let's get it on. And he feels he's going to retain that title, and I believe he will.
Yeah, I think he will too. It's just a matter of what he does. I want to see how he wins. I would like to see him maybe drop Kambosos once. I want to see a nice convincing win for Hitchens because I like Hitchens. I mean, I believe he's the only champion we have in New York at the moment. So, I would like to see Hitchens keep the title and win convincingly. So,
how about the summer to come? We'll preview as we go along in the weeks to come. But you got some good fights coming up. And I'm just scrolling down here, and I'm looking at Kashawn Davis, Edwin De Los Santos, Norfolk, Virginia, ESPN Top Rank, June 7th. Yeah. I'm looking at there's some intriguing fights on the calendar coming up. Tokyo, Japan, Junto Nakayani against Nishida. June 8th, Tokyo, Japan, ESPN Plus. And as I keep scrolling down, bear with me. Of course, you got Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, the trilogy, Madison Square Garden, all-female card. July 11th. In that one, Serrano Taylor 3 to settle the score. Shakur, and then we're going to get to this big card that we're going to talk in a moment, but Manny Pacquiao, he's returning.
That's
Manny Pacquiao, the only 8-division champion in the sport, the Hall of Famer, lost his election in the Philippines Senate to be in the Senate again. He's coming back. Amazon PBC Prime, July 19th, against Mario Barrios, WBC welterweight title for Barrios. He's going after that. 4 years later, Pacquiao back in the ring. What do you think of that?
I think it's just a joke. I think this is something that shouldn't happen. I think it's a travesty that they ranked Pacquiao in the top 10 again. I mean, he hasn't fought in 4 years. And then
we don't know where his skills are going to be. We don't know. He says he's fine.
His last fight, he lost to the guy that Barrios beat up. He lost to Ugas, and Barrios beat Ugas. And Ugas may be Barrios' best win to date. And Ugas pretty much beat up, Pacquiao. So I don't like this. This is a money grab. I don't like it. He should be getting a unification fight or fighting somebody, one of the champions. They should be able to unify. I just don't see why they can't do it.
I'm not for this, and I hope Pacquiao still has the skills. He is a Hall of Famer. He certainly doesn't need the money unless he does. He's going to make a lot of money in this fight. And I'm just worried that his skills have been diminished. He hasn't been in the ring in 4 years. And I thought for sure, 8-division champion, legacy established, that was it. No way he's coming back. And now we know he's coming back for another title. It befuddles me why that happens. But this boxing card with Barrios and Pacquiao is put that poster up. Do we have it? Because we're going to see on that night the return bout from last March, the bloodbath between Sebastian Madura and Tszyu. And so it looks like Tszyu is not going to get Keith Thurman. Thurman on our program here a few weeks back said he wanted that fight in Australia with Tszyu. That's not happening anytime soon because Fundora and Tszyu are going to have their second, and we'll see if it's like the first one. Though Fundora has been stripped of his WBO title at 154 because he pursued Tszyu again. That's why. And that led to this. Xander Zayas and Fundora, they failed to come to a purse bid. That was going to be the fight and possibly in New York. But now Zayas has Jorge Garcia Perez for the vacant WBO title. And possibly this could be New York City in July. Is this fight card in July? What did you hear about that, Tom?
This is the first I've seen of this. I thought that the Usyk-Dubois fight, which I think is a good fight, I thought that was going to be a separate, but I didn't know they were going to put all these fights in the same.
Yeah, they're all coming in bunches in July. You talk about Pacquiao, Fundora, and that card, which is stacked and a good one. Boxing fans are getting too much too soon at the same time. Not much time to breathe here. But you have this heavyweight title now. Usyk looking to be undisputed complete. Dubois, the IBF champ, that's going to be coming up. And this is all a part of the Turk guy also and the ring and so forth. And even Jesse Rodriguez here against Cafu for the ring WBC, WBO super flyweight titles. So it's stacked.
Yeah.
July is usually at a time in the sport when we have a little respite in the summer, and boxing season, as I always said, wasn't in July. But we're going to get it in July. We got back-to-back cards coming up. Serrano Taylor, the Garden, and then the next night in New York, which we finally made it official today. Boxing made it official today. New York, the Zone pay-per-view, July 12th, Ring 3, they're calling it. Edgar Berlanga looking to get another shot at Canelo Alvarez, which I don't think is going to happen. He's got Hazi Shariz, and this in New York, across the street from Citi Field, home of the New York Mets, all you got to do is walk across the bridge, which I've done many times because the Arthur Ashe Tennis Center is right there. And that's where they're going to happen, but not in the main tennis center where the U.S. Open is. Louis Armstrong Stadium that has less of a capacity of fans. So they're going to have that fight along with Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda. Stevenson defending the WBC lightweight title, Alberto Puello and Sergio Mertes in New York. Puello, the WBC junior welterweight title. David Morrell off his loss to Ben Benitez against Amar Katav, 12 rounds, light heavyweights. Tom, you were at that press conference today. Edgar Berlanga, great face-off. You were able to get some great video of the press conference, and we got some images as well. Let's talk about this one. Let's roll that video first.
Let's roll. We'll do Berlanga talking at the end.
Sure.
Fucking fight. Everybody loves a fight, right? Entertainment. Everybody loves entertainment. We're not going in there being humble. You know what I'm saying? Outside of this, we humble, but when I'm in my zone, I'm in my zone. Humble out the window. Fuck everybody.
Edgar, question for you.
Yeah, Berlanga was.
There you go, vulgar language again. Vulgarity. Why? Why does he got to do that? What is he trying to prove by doing that?
I really don't get it. I don't understand. But I mean, it did make the press conference a little bit more exciting. It was kind of boring. It was nothing special. We did make it, but look at photos like this, like pointing like a gun at Shiraz, and this is the face-off after the press conference. It got a little intense during the press conference. They were both talking a little bit. I'll play another clip of Berlanga speaking. This is we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. Let me see if I have this video here. Hold on one second. This is Berlanga again. The sound, pay attention. The sound's a little low.
Is that going to be something that you're praying for to, not slip on a banana peel because of that pressure?
Not for sure, man. That's why I'm like this. I don't want to get into trouble. Just like what Coach said, we don't feel pressure. We grab that and we apply the pressure. You know what I'm saying? I groom myself. My coach groomed me to be this type of fighter. My father groomed me like that. So, I got 2 lines. So I got 2 lines. They built me in 18 lines, so what makes you think?
We got 2 more questions. Where in New York are you from? You keep saying back. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up, in the city or in the burbs? Or?
So, I was in shelter homes all through the Bronx, Hunts Point, Webster Projects. I lived in Webster Projects for 3 years. I was born and raised in Costa Rica.
My wife is from Hybrid, so
my father went home. He went to jail. He did a lot of time, but I was born and raised in Brooklyn. My mother was born and raised in Douglas Project, uptown.
Okay.
Lower East Side as well. So, I went to whole New York. I'm big New York.
Oh, you're coming to Queens. I heard for the Queens Chronicle, so when is what?
Big New York. Yeah, you already know.
So basically, he's just talking about.
That was my buddy Lloyd Carroll threw that question in about where he was from in New York. I didn't know that he grew up in the Bronx, not far from me.
I didn't know that either. I
didn't know. I thought it was Brooklyn, Puerto Rico, and Brooklyn. But regardless, he's very happy that he's fighting in New York. That's what he wanted. At one time, I thought he was going to be a part of on the eve of the National Puerto Rican Day Parade that Top Rank used to do. Instead, he's going to be fighting in July at the Louis Armstrong Stadium. First time fights are being headed over there. But what do you make of that today? What do you think? What is attitude? And he wins. Where does he go from here? Plant, Charlo? What does he get?
I think a good performance is what we want. I like the attitude. I mean, I guess cursing is part of boxing. I mean, he was a little intense, a little extra. But if he performs the way he spoke tonight or earlier today, I'm with it, right? I mean, don't speak like you did against Canelo and have the performance that you did. So I would like to see him perform. Both guys were heated. Shiraz came in. I like the way Shiraz came to the press conference. He came in a nice suit. He looked prepared. That's how you come to a press conference, not for anything. He looked, he looked good.
He looked professional, right?
Both managers kind of like were talking, and then they said that they were going to stop Berlanga. Berlanga said they were going to stop him. Then and during the press conference, Berlanga got at his trainer, because now he switched trainers to Andy Lee, and Andy Lee was in the crowd. It's pretty good. I mean, I got a little clip. I got the video of the press conference. I would have to scroll and try to find it. It was pretty funny. Maybe I can edit it and show it next week. But yeah, he got at Andy Lee. He said, but now that you got Andy Lee, you're going to be running a little bit more, so I won't knock you out first round. So
yeah,
it was pretty good.
I thought briefly, Tom. I thought this was interesting. Were you able to hear the phone conversation from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
The Turk guy called in. He wasn't there. Called in and discussed a plan for the ring and some major fights coming up on the calendar.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. You could hardly hear him, but he was a part of the press conference from Saudi Arabia to show, most of all, how important and how much of a factor this guy, the Turk guy, is in boxing right now.
He's a big deal. I mean, he called. It looks like it was a phone call. It looked like it was legit. I mean,
that was him. That was him.
And he was talking on speaker.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you look at Berlanger in this fight? Is we're going to move to a break? We're running behind schedule, and I got to line up Jason Knight too, and he doesn't have the link to get on, so we're going to take a little extended break because I got to send him the link again. Okay. How do you size this up?
I like Berlanger. But I'm interested now because with the talk that happened today, Shiraz has to come and do something because he had a bad performance. And I don't think much of Shiraz, and fighters like that could be dangerous, Berlanga, let's see what he does this fight. So I'm very intrigued in this fight. I think it's a good main event. Fighting in his hometown, so you got to feel he'll get some added pressure, but this is what he wanted. He wanted big fights in his hometown, so let's see if he can perform. He's
got to win this fight. The question is, does Edgar Berlanga get Canelo Alvarez again, assuming Canelo's still the champ, and it should be. And I don't think that's happening. But there are big fights in store for him ahead after this one, win or lose. All right, Tom, fact of the week, you and me. Good job today. Thank you, my friend. That was great. I couldn't make it down there, but I leave it to you. You did it. You did it again. All right. All right. Let's get the fact of the week, and then we're going to line up Jason Knight. I got to send him the link again. Here we go, Tom. You ready? And then we're going to take a little extended break because I got to line him up. Here's your fact, Tom. You hear the word, he's a bum, all the time in the sport. But he's a bum is not what we think. What does it mean? The fact here, not trivia. What does it mean? And if anyone else wants to comment, get a crack at this. What does it mean? He's a bum.
So it's supposed to be a definition or something?
No, I know it's a boxing term when they call the opponent or someone a bum.
So that he's not good.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yep. But the truth is, it's a fighter who's a bum, supposedly, has less than 12 fights on his record or lost 25% or more of his fights in his career. That's the definition. He's a bum in boxing.
Wow.
Well, leave it to me. I come up with the facts.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Gotcha, buddy. You didn't get it this week. You know what, Tom, though? You're not a bum.
I'm not a bum.
No, that's for sure.
No, not at all. I'm far from it.
No, you are professional to the top. And without you, I'm lost here every week. Tom, Tommy D, Rocky, you're a bum. Go to Shelton. Thank you. Yeah, to me, Rocky was always a bum because I hate Rocky. I never watched a Rocky movie. Not one clip of it. No. Wow. No, in fact, I made no, not to me. That's all fiction. In fact, when I was in Philadelphia a couple of years ago, and I told the whole world this on my social media, I made peace with the Rocky statue. I finally climbed the stairs, and I made peace with the statue because I've always badmouthed the statue and Rocky. He's a bum.
He's a bum.
You're not. You're not, and all of you watching out there, keep it in the ring with Rich Mancuso. Come back, some MMA news and the pro wrestling. We're going to line up Jason Knight and Robbie Rebel and talk about the passing of the great Sabu. Get me on social media, X, Ring 786, Also, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, subscribe my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. To Tommy D as well. And the Facebook page, like that as always. I tell you all every week, my friends. AGT Network, of course, Stream Punk Entertainment, our great Scott Church, and behind the scenes on that one. Stay with us, fans. Taking a little extended break and a light up Jason Knight. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's Tommy D. More Keep It in the Ring. Back in a moment.
Petwell Clinic was built with busy pet parents like you in mind, providing walk-in preventative vet care, treatment for minor ailments, and chronic condition management. You remain with your pet throughout their visit, and all charges are clearly explained, so there are no surprises at checkout. Just walk in to our Paramus, Greenbrook, or Union locations, or visit us at petwellclinic.com for more information.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, Tom. I'm trying to line up Jason Knight, sending him the link. Let's. You want to Babylon a minute? Take me off screen while I do that. Go do it. Go ahead. Just Babylon a little bit. You know how to do it. Go ahead. I'm almost finishing up. We're doing live. This happens. I'm trying to get Jason Knight. I'm trying to get this link to him. Go ahead and Babylon a minute. Go ahead.
I got Robbie in the back too. I could bring Robbie up as well.
I'm not ready for Rebel yet.
Okay. All right. So let me take you off. You let me.
All right. I just sent the link, and Robbie, hang in there because I want to put you on with Jason Knight together. This is important because we're going to go over the great career of Sabu, who died tragically. We're going to get into that in a moment. Not tragically. He passed away suddenly, and the whole wrestling world is still stunned about it.
Yeah.
Sabu
just wrestled about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we're going to go into that as well. And I would want people to comment on that. All right.
No,
why we do that?
Let me know when you're ready.
Let me know. In the meantime, D says Berlinger might be too big for Shariz. Good step up fight for him in his first fight at 168. Good point. All right, Tom, let me go over some MMA UFC stuff quickly. And then we'll go into the wrestling stuff. And Dana White has announced UFC 319 middleweight title, Drake Duplessis versus Shimov. Pay-per-view August 10th, United Center, Chicago. Duplessis' third title defense and with an 11-fight win streak. He's an exciting fighter in the octagon if you can catch him on pay-per-view. Islam Makhachev vacating the lightweight title, moves to welterweight, leaving Charles Oliveira versus Topuria for the vacant title. UFC 317, Saturday, June 28th. In Las Vegas, Nevada. So that's some of the UFC news, and their calendar is heating up as well. All right, Tom, let's get to the pro wrestling stuff. Keep It in the Ring continues live on my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know when Jason Knight comes in. I did send him the link. Okay. And in the meantime, Robbie Rebel, we could bring him on as soon as I run down some of the WWE and AEW news. First, let me go AEW because last night was crazy on Dynamite, and we saw Moxley and Sabu and Samoa Joe setting up a big event at AEW Double or Nothing in 2 weeks, and that's going to include Sturv Strickland, an exciting competitor in AEW. AEW is still just hanging in there with storylines I still can't understand. And then Double or Nothing is May 25th. And we also have Ricochet and Zach Gowen. That's disgusting what they're doing. Gowen is the one-leg wrestler, has one leg. And what they're doing there is just, I don't agree with that. To me, it's in bad taste, but they're doing it with him and Ricochet. Bad taste to me, Tom. Let's go to WWE. It looks like they're going to be doing too many shows all at once, confusing storylines. That includes what's coming up with Money in the Bank. And here we go. This came out of Backlash over the weekend. Cobb. He's the newest member with Solo Sikoa. There he is. Cobb and Solo Sikoa are going to team up. It's obviously not going well with Fatu. And, of course, Cobb is New Japan talent coming in, going to be a part of this new bloodline. With it's going to set up, obviously, what's going to happen with Fatu and Solo Sikoa. All right? And then we have John Cena, R-Truth. They're doing this. Cena's retirement tour. He slams him into the table at the press conference at Backlash, setting their confrontation up for the title. Cena and Truth, they're going to be Money in the Bank or the one before that. I
don't think they're going to put Truth in them. I'd be shocked. I just thought it was like a funny ending. There's no way.
I think they're going to do that in Saudi Arabia on June 9th.
But they're going to there's no way.
But he's fighting. R-Truth's going to wrestle Cena for the title on his retirement tour. They're doing that. That set it all up. That's crazy. But the thing here, too, on June 9th, Saudi Arabia, we're getting ready for Goldberg's retirement match, probably against Gunther. Because Jey Uso and Gunther, again, Saturday Night Main Event in 2 weeks. And you're going to see probably Goldberg get involved with that and wrestle Gunther and Goldberg in his retirement match June 9th in Saudi Arabia. I think the Cena heel turn now is turning sour on them, don't you think?
Yeah, because the fans are now cheering. It's still kind of, the last event, they kind of cheered him a little bit, even though they were in St. Louis. And, that was Randy Orton's hometown. But I thought it was the whole pay-per-view, the whole show, Backlash. Was it Backlash? It was. I didn't like it.
Backlash had 5 matches. Now they're talking at the TKO Endeavor, the new group with Triple H. They're talking now increasing it from 1 to 5 matches. They only do 5, which I'm fine with. But you have so much talent that needs to be involved. Yeah. So they're going to increase that. But Maccabee and Gunther, got an image of that?
Yeah.
Look at that. I got to hand it to Pat Maccabee, who's not a pro wrestler. Got choked out again and bashed all over his chest, made a big thing out of it and saved Michael Cole and all that stuff. They put on a pretty good match. That might have been the match of the night at Backlash.
It could have been. It was funny. It had its funny moments, so it was good. I think it put more heat. It gave more heat to Gunther. I mean, I guess he needed that after losing and, doing a clean loss to Jey Uso. So, I mean, I thought it was good. A good waste of a match, but for Gunther to get the heat, I think that's good. It sets him up with him and Uso. Is it? I didn't hear about Goldberg. If that's true, that's interesting.
Yeah, Goldberg's retirement match supposed to be against Gunther, and they're going to be starting to set that up. By the way, The Rock supposedly, who had wasn't around for the heel turn with Cena. After the heel turn, never saw him again. Supposedly he's coming back in the summer and is going to have an impact on Cena possibly turning face again.
Yeah.
As Cody Rhodes makes his slow return back into the picture. It's crazy what's going on in WWE, but they can do it. They can do it. They have the resources. They grow and grow every day. So we'll see. All right, let me bring in. I don't have Jason Knight yet.
He's here. That's what I was trying to.
All right, let's bring them both in. We got the Rebel Rant, Robbie Rebel, and let's bring in ACW, Jason Knight. Just opened up a pro wrestling school. Robbie Rebel and Jason Knight know each other real well, and we're going to be sadly talking about the passing of the great Sabu. Unexpectedly, a shock to everyone in the wrestling world. Terry Brunk, as he was 60 years of age. Tom, put some images up of Sabu first, and we take a look at this great warrior who I knew. I worked with him a few times. He was funny. I mean, I rode in the back car with him on some road trips, and the stories he was telling were hysterically. I mean, they made me hysterical. I had to pee in my pants. But when it came to being a competitor, Sabu was all of that. And two guys who knew him real well, Jason Knight, right there with Sabu, and Robbie Rebel, who's a regular on our program with the Rebel Ramp. Guys, welcome. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Glad to have you. And let's talk about Sabu and his career a bit. First, Jason Knight, briefly. Good to see you again, my friend. How's the wrestling school going there in South Jersey?
It's going very well, thank you.
And of all people that most would know Sabu real well, would be you. You worked with him in ECW. First, condolences to you and everyone who knew him, his family, friends, and those in the wrestling fraternity who only said great things about him. ECW extraordinaire star with you at the time. What do you remember about Sabu, Jason Knight? What can you tell us briefly about Sabu that you can recollect about this great wrestler who's now no longer with us?
I mean, to keep it brief and try to squeeze it all in one box, it's very difficult. But okay, in any case, in '93 I joined the ECW, and the first time that I personally saw Sabu perform, and not only was the audience absolutely in awe after his performance, but the lot, well, never seen anything like that. And of course, we ended up, him and I working there together pretty much roughly 93 to 2000. And I did work with him quite a bit in Japan and through other independent companies. And I would see him a lot. He was unique. He was one of a kind. And a lot of people would say that he had because he was the nephew of the Sheik, and nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, it did help that he was the nephew of the Sheik, and he was educated the right way, and they very much looked alike, or that part. However, he didn't have it easy. He started from the very bottom, and everything that he earned literally blood, sweat, and tears.
Now, there was a question, guys, and Robbie, you could tune in on this because you knew Sabu as well. He had wrestled, only a week or two earlier? And let me just pull this up again. There is a lot of controversy. In a recent interview with Yahoo, Janela, and I don't know exactly who she is, maybe you guys can clarify, reflected on Sabu taking kratom ahead of his match at that GCW event. It's a herbal extract used as a pain relief. And we all knew he suffered from pain. God, he used to fly off scaffolds and everything else at the ECW arena and elsewhere. And Janela noted that he was given the supplement after worries that he wouldn't show up to the event that came up. Can you clarify, either one of you guys, Robbie or Jason, did he have a substance abuse problem on painkillers and stuff like that?
Well, as far as I know, I don't think he did, or at least that things were getting better around this time. However, when I did first break into the business, there was a couple of times where I have seen the guy. It was either in so much pain or he was on something. And I hate to say it, and I'm not knocking the guy or anything like that. But when I first got into the business, that was something that was said when he was trying to have a little bit of we were doing a training seminar, and he just couldn't get out of the chair. I thought something was completely off personally, but I did not see anything. I did not hear anything about that. But as far as I'm concerned, every time I did see Sabu, he was pretty level-headed, always a good guy to talk to and everything like that. Just that one training seminar that I did have, that would have been something where I would have had a red flag. But I've seen him multiple times after that, and I never got that feeling from him.
I never did, the limited time I spent with him. He wasn't complaining to me about any pain, but as obvious as he grew older and he kept participating in wrestling independent cards, that there was something bothering him, and pain was it. Jason Knight, ACW Jason Knight, ECW Jason Knight, who knew him real well, Sabu. Did you ever sense Sabu was in a lot of pain at the time you knew him?
I mean, we all are. You know, as far as taking medication, all that fluctuates. Obviously, you know, sometimes, sometimes we go through a surgery and we come back weeks later instead of months later or even years later. And we're in pain. We get prescribed pain medication. In the best case scenario, you take it when you need it. You know, and I believe that we've all taken it when in life in general, everything fluctuates, and especially in the world of sports or sports entertainment, like professional wrestling. So it's pretty much like it's not a secret, and yet it is so. The sniper is pointed toward professional wrestling for some reason, and in all sorts of entertainment, whether it be in music, filmmaking, anything, there's always that aura of drug abuse or alcohol, this and that. Well, so is anywhere else. You know, it's just not seen as much because we are out there. We're seen. The public wants to know. So every little nook and cranny is looked in. You know, and then you find
Robbie and Jason. I'm going to ask you straight out, both of you, because you're both. And Jason, at your age, how old are you now, Jason Knight?
61.
Okay, and you're still wrestling. You're still in there. And Robbie, you're relatively young, but both of you have been injured numerous times. Have both of you been subjected to taking painkillers to save yourselves, your careers, and to stay on a show? I don't know if you're at liberty to answer that, but that comes up a lot about pro wrestlers. Either one of you, I would like to take both of you on that.
Before Jason starts, I just want to say 61. He's still the sexiest man in the world, right there.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I know.
If you don't mind, I'll go first on this. Yeah, there's been a time where I've had a couple cracked ribs, and I had a really good booking, and there was someone watching me so that I could probably get into another level of something, and I did take something and it was from the boys in the back, and this is when I was very green because I didn't lose a chance, and it affected me really bad in that ring. You know, when you do have something, and whether it be smoking weed, drinking alcohol, whatever, something like that, it can affect you in that ring. And there's times where you don't feel it until the night after, and you're sitting there like, why did I even do that? I just made this worse. So it's no surprise that, you know, people have done it, people will do it, and it will continue to happen, especially on some really crappy indie shows. But, so, I'm sorry about that. But
do you get Jason? Answer this also. I've been involved backstage with numerous promotions over my career, working in the wrestling industry. I've seen guys in a lot of pain, but I've never seen them really take anything to alleviate the pain. Were you warned about taking painkillers before going in the ring, before you did it, or you just did it on your own, feeling, yeah, this is going to calm it for now. I'm pain free for the moment. I got to go in there and perform.
Well, you know, first of all, you're never pain free. You know, I mean, look, I take ibuprofen. Now, after bad injuries and surgeries, when I couldn't do anything, obviously they're going to prescribe you something. Now, the question is whether you're going to continue taking it when you have or whether you're going to control it and take it as needed. And once it runs out, you don't go out on the street and buy it. Those are two different questions to be answered right here.
Yeah, do both of you believe that this contributed to his sudden death?
I don't. No.
No, I don't either.
I don't. I honestly don't. No. I believe that okay, some of the most shocking deaths in the world of sports, or in pretty much the world of anything, is someone that says, and recently it's happened to me, a friend of mine says, he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do drugs. He ran 5 miles a day, watched what he ate, and dropped at the age of X, Y, and Z. I believe that he might have had maybe a heart condition.
Do you know, to your knowledge, both Robbie Rebel, Jason Knight, to your knowledge, was there any doctors or at the event doing any type of physical before guys went in the ring? That most independent wrestling promotions, and you guys know that, don't have an attending physician at ringside, just a standby ambulance now, because it's been deregulated by most of the athletic control boards and athletic commissions throughout the country. Do you know if there was a ringside? Was there anybody there to administer physicals?
I don't. It all depends on what state it is, to be perfectly honest, because some states are more regulated than others. Like New York, for example. New York, the state athletic commission is insanely hard. If someone bleeds in New York, they could get fined.
How about you, Jason?
Well, look, I saw him maybe a week and a day before he died.
And how was he then when you saw him?
I asked him, "How are you feeling? How's the body?" He said, "It's hurting. It's hurting a lot. I'm getting home." You know, he was very talkative. He wasn't high or anything like that. He simply he sat there for a while. Then he walked around. He went grabbed something to eat, like he usually does. Remember the 2 hot dogs? You know.
Yeah.
And you know, he wasn't drinking any alcohol or anything like that, or nothing like that. I mean, I saw him several times throughout the night, but he was hurt. He was hurt, obviously. I mean, you know, if I'm 61 years old or 60 years old, and I give my last match of a friggin' lifetime, and obviously I'm going to be hurting because he gave it. He gave it all he had.
Yeah, he did. That was leading to my next thought. He was a competitor, respected around the industry. You never heard a bad thing about Sabu.
No.
Always good. You talk to the talent of yesterday and now, that those who knew him now in the current realm, always just great things about him. He was a teacher, a listener, and most of all, a great performer. He went out there and did what he had to do. Reflect on some of those memories, guys. Each one of you take a shot at that question.
Robbie?
Well, I'm pretty sure Jason has way more stories than I do about Sabu, but there was times when I first got into the business, we were working for a show called FTW, which is ran by this guy named Brian Idle. And all I did was see him, Balls Mahoney. I saw a lot of old school ECW guys, and it just took me into a completely different world. I mean, obviously I grew up watching not only Jason, but Sabu and all of them too. So just being able to be near him and have him, you know, give me ideas, tell me what I should have worked on here and there and stuff like that. The guy had a totally different level of thinking when it came to that, and I really appreciated everything he has done. And
I know you took it really bad when you heard the news, Robbie, as many did, but you had that personal touch with him. Jason?
Well, you know, again, you know, I knew him from 1993 until about the week before he died. You know, we've worked pretty much all over the country. We worked in Japan. He was very gracious in Japan because he had gone there many more times than I had, and he would always point certain things out or point you in the right direction. You needed something as far as food, gym, tanning. We rolled the underground together, the subway system to get from point A to point B to go to the gym, to go tanning. He showed me around. Always, and of course, I worked with him, physically worked with him in the ring many times, and managed other people against him many times. There was always that trust. He always knew that he could trust me catching him, not moving out of the way, not cowering out. Him and I always had a connection. He knew that I would never let anything as far as his ability and his high flying moves. I was,
Yeah, you were brothers in ECW down there in Philadelphia. You guys were brothers. You were inseparable. I remember that.
I understood the fact that, he did this night after night after night. Sometimes in my own way, I would kind of question the fact that, why are you working so hard? I looked at it, well, it's what we do.
Jason, your body has taken a lot of wear and tear over the years, and you're still in there. Not only that, you're training students, and even Robbie Rebel could vouch for that because you've trained him a bit, and he's been on some of your shows at ACW. And I thank you, by the way, for delivering Robbie Rebel to me. We've become great friends over the last year, thanks to you and Desiree and ACW. How much more at your age, just like Sabu, can you take these bumps and basically what you call punishment of a pro wrestling star? It's got to take a toll after a while.
Sure, because, I took over 10 years off and then came back and kind of, I didn't right back. I'm still not in it like full force. If they would say balls to the wall, I'm still testing myself and getting a little bit more each time, almost like I treat it like I just started professional wrestling. So, sure.
Guys,
hey.
Yeah, it's you're breaking up a little bit, Jason, but we got the thrust of your what you had to say there. Let's go now, not to forget about the great Sabu, because that's why you two are here. What do you got coming up? Now, Jason, you just opened up, and I've got to go down there and see it, and I will soon, a new wrestling school. You're training aspiring talent, putting on some weekly shows now, TV, and I'm hopefully going to be involved with as well. What have you got coming up, Jason Knight? Always coming up with new ideas.
Well, actually, we're going to have our second TV taping from right here in Vineland, our dojo, Impact Central Pro Wrestling Dojo here in Vineland, New Jersey. Our TV taping will be on Member. I believe, let me ask the boss. It starts at 2, right? Hey, boss?
That's a great Desiree, your counterpart with ACW. Yeah.
Do anything without her. So,
how do aspiring wrestlers, young people, whatever, get in touch with you if they want to take a shot at it and get trained by the great Jason Knight? How do they get in touch?
They can either get in touch on ImpactCentralProWrestlingDojo.com or
All right.
Impact Central Dojo Pro Wrestling.com.
Okay. Tom, my great colleague in the back. Tommy D, can you come on in a second and add to that and repeat what they're saying? Because there might be some fans and supporters out there, followers of the program, that might want to get in touch with Jason Knight or even Robbie Rebel. I know Robbie gets some calls from some of our fans every week after his rant.
Maybe that guy, not me, that guy.
That guy, yeah,
that guy.
Again, it was a little static coming from his microphone, I believe. So
okay,
so maybe repeat that again about the location.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are located in Vineland, New Jersey, 319 Landis Avenue in New Jersey, and you can contact us at Impact Central ProWrestlingDojo.com.
Okay, we'll keep plugging that and hope to see you soon. Don't go away, Jason. Tom, do you have Hey, do we ever get any of images of Robbie Rebel's match Saturday that I was supposed to be at that I couldn't be at? Yeah.
This guy right
Robbie,
here.
is that
This
you
guy-
Saturday?
Red tonight because I had a lot to say about you, sir.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. My birthday was yesterday. I was preparing for my birthday.
I had rage.
Jason, take a look at this. Is Robbie Rebel? Look at that. Has he progressed? What do you think?
That's. I think. I don't know if that's a wrestling event. I think that's him after a phone call with Rich Mancuso.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. I don't want to face him right now. I really.
Right after. What?
Look at the technique there.
Why are you showing all these images of me getting beat up?
Because you got beat up.
No.
I wrestled Robbie many, many years ago when you were what, maybe 19 or 20 years old?
Like 21, yeah. Because we had a drink afterwards, so I had to been 21.
Okay, yeah.
Has he progressed in his young career? Seems to be doing fine without me.
He was amazing back then, and again when I wrestled him another time. Remember when I was hurt and you took good care.
I wanted to actually bring up that story before because he was asking about like when you're in pain and stuff like that. When I wrestled Jason for this place, it's a different CCW than the ones what you just saw. He had I think you had a hernia, right? Yeah, he had a hernia.
That was the last show I was at. Yeah.
We had to figure out.
He had a hernia, and I don't know how he got through that. He had a hernia in the match.
He was, you know what? He did so good. I had to beat him up with a cane by the end of it. The kendo stick.
Guys, both of you, Rebel, we'll go back to your usual rant next week. Jason Knight, I am going to come down to the school soon. But once again, we're here on a sad note. Tom, put up the image again of the great Sabu, passing of Terry Brunk. The wrestling world will never forget this guy and for what he contributed to the industry. And, of course, we're all sad and most of all shocked at how suddenly he passed away after performing just 2 weeks ago. Let him rest in peace. Guys, any final thoughts?
Rich, I just want to say thank you again. It's always great to be on your podcast and hope to see you soon. Robbie, you keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great.
I'll be seeing you soon.
And yes, we'll see each other very soon.
Yeah, I'll be down there soon, and perhaps that'll finally Robbie Rebel will pick me up in his truck, and I'll come down there with him because I didn't make his match last week. He's still upset with me.
Can I add something, Jason?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I've been watching wrestling a long time, but I think one of the best promos you did is funny because I still kind of remember to this day was when you brought in Just Incredible. When you're in the center of the ring and Joey Styles is asking you, who is he? And he's like, he's just incredible. And it's like you did it like 3 times, and then Joey Styles is like, oh, just incredible. That was one of the best promos, I think. I know you've done a few at ECW, but that one always comes to mind when you brought in Just Incredible.
Yep.
I have that vest up on the wall.
Okay.
Vest I wore,
Yeah, the vest. Yeah.
Well, at least we can reminisce about some good things. Jason Knight, I want you to stay well, my friend. Don't overdo it. And take good care of yourself. My love and best to Desiree, and I'm going to see you soon. Robbie, any final words with the rant this week?
Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, The Real Robbie Rebel, and I will be in the different CCW next month. I don't know exactly the date yet.
Maybe I'll make that one. But before we go, let's
I'm not holding my breath no more. Rich.
No, but in memory of the great Sabu, let's all give him.
Sabu.
Let's all do what he did. What did he do? Put those. There you go. The great Sabu. Rest in peace. Jason Knight, Robbie Rebel, Tommy D, hang in there. Thank you, guys. Keep it in the ring. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
It's good seeing you guys. Thank you.
Always. Tom, let's take a final break. Come back with nostalgia. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Reach me, X. That's Twitter. Ring 786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. I appreciate that. String Punk Entertainment, AGT Network, like the Facebook Keep It in the Ring page. And, of course, Tommy D right there. And I'm Rich Mancuso. Back in a moment. Nostalgia will wrap it all up. Stay with us.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
I know we're running over, but that we had to, because there was a segment, Tom, with Jason Knight and Robbie Rebel on the Great Sabu and the pro wrestling part. Let's get to some nostalgia. We'll put this up. But first, there's two of them this week. And first, we're going to go to May 20th when Larry Holmes defeats Tim Witherspoon. A split decision. He retained the WBC heavyweight title of the Hall of Famer in Las Vegas. Holmes struggled in this, though, his 15 title defense. But he did it. And Larry Holmes, a great Hall of Famer, defeating Tim Witherspoon, who was his own right, was a great heavyweight and fight for the title many, many times. And then we go to this. We go, Tom, put it up, May 18th, 2002. Mohegan Sun up in Connecticut. Newly Casino, many have been up there, great fight venue. And here we go. Mickey Ward defeats Taro Gotti in a 10-round majority decision. This was a majority decision. The junior welterweights, they were the first of their three fights in the great trilogy. The 9th round was considered the round of the year back then, and it was May 18, 2022. Of course, Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward, the trilogy. How many times have we heard about it? How many times have we read about it? How many times have we seen it? This was boxing. This was the trilogy, and one that you'll never forget it. They had wars. They had bloodbaths in that ring, and championship fights. One in Connecticut, two in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall that I was grateful enough to cover. And then they became great friends. Gotti unfortunately passed on tragically. Mickey Ward still around. Two Hall of Famers, two great warriors. Tom, that was boxing history. The first of their three fights.
Yeah, those so three great fights. I think the first one was definitely the best of the three. Ward got the first fight, and then the second and third Gotti won. But Gotti changed up in those two fights, because I don't know if it was the second or third fight, but I think he took on Buddy McGirt as his trainer, and he started boxing more. He wasn't really slugging it out more. So, but they were still pretty good competitive fights. But the first fight definitely was the best of the three.
Thunder. He was called the Thunder.
Yeah.
And what I really loved about it was the camaraderie after their three wars, as I call them, and how they became great friends. Yeah. They worked together and for the betterment of boxing, training young people. They were always together at big fights, and even before the big fights, they just became great friends. And that's why I love the sport so much, Tom, because it's that mutual respect granted after what they did, contributing to the sport and also being a historic parts of the sport. And that happens a lot in the sport. People don't realize that. A lot of fans don't realize, as much as they will bash each other and have their verbal wars back and forth, the camaraderie of two fighters who went to war, it exists.
Yes.
And it's great to see. And these two, Gotti, Ward, after their great trilogy, they did that. They exemplified what the sport is all about.
No, I agree. I think it's always good to show respect to your opponent, especially after the fight. It's I can understand the trash talking, and some people, they get personal before, but maybe that's just the psychological.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Themselves up, but it's always good to see when they show the respect after the fight and become friends afterwards.
That's right. It's so true.
To see that.
It's so true. That's why I say, like, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, they can't stand each other, but I'm sure when it's all over, they're going to respect each other. After all, they make a lot of money together. That's what it's about.
I don't know. I don't know about those two. Maybe others. I don't know about them two though.
Yeah, but me and one thing is for certain though, Tommy D, me and you, we're always together, right?
We're always good. Yeah.
There you go. Tommy D, thanks again. Great hour or more. I couldn't do this without you, my friend. Where do fans reach you again?
Well, you can catch me here every Friday night. Usually we're here Friday night sports talk. We do something. We talk mostly boxing, but baseball season, maybe talk a little baseball. Football season, we're always covering football games. So yeah, and then once in a while I'll pop up, do some interviews. I got an interview coming up this Saturday with a good young prospect from Newark, New Jersey. So stay tuned for that. And then of course, Ring Talk Worldwide with my man Pedro Fernandez.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah. Pedro sent me a beautiful birthday greeting yesterday, as you did as well. And I thank you all for that. I thank everyone for that. Look, I'm a year older. I'm still doing what I'm doing, and I'm blessed with the Lord to continue to do what I do. That's all I can say. I complain, I bitch, I moan, but don't we all? We all.
It's true. I think it's just part of life. I think we.
Yeah, and I got my ailments too, but I overcome them. And every time I do keep it in the ring, and I get off the air, and I'm energized when I'm on, but when I get off the air, then I go back into this. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you.
But before we go, we want to thank all of you again. Thanks to Jason Knight, ECW Jason Knight, Robbie Rebel for reflecting on the passing of the great Sabu, and Tom for all your great work, great videos this week, great images. Quiet boxing weekend coming up, but it picks up again within 2 weeks, and again, that busy months of June and July. Back at you next week, everyone. Here at Keep It in the Ring on my YouTube channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, Rich Mancuso. Like the Facebook Keep It in the Ring page, String Punk Entertainment, and the AGT Network, and of course, Tommy D with Sports Talk. And get my social media, X, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Read my content, Latinosports.com. I'll have something posted up there later tonight, early morning on Edgar Berlanger's next fight. Till next week, everyone, as I always say, stay well, be good to each other, and God bless. And Tom, what do we say?
Keep it in the ring.
Keep it in the ring, everyone. Thank you, and good night. Thanks for watching.
Take care.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.